The Forsaken Heir. Previous episodes are available on the playlist. You can also visit our website for your favorite stories. A link is provided in the video description. Episode 31. In the car. Warnia said to Charlie while driving, "Mr. Wade, Grandpa has been talking about you for several days, and I am afraid that you will not have time to attend his birthday banquet. After you arrive, I believe he will be very happy." Charlie smiled slightly and said, "Since I have promised you, how can I break the appointment?" "Yet." Warnia nodded happily, and said, "The person Grandpa wants to see most today is probably you." While speaking, Warnia sighed, "I don't know what's going on. Since my grandfather went to see the genius Dr. Tiankai a few days ago, he has been talking about you and told me in private that this birthday banquet is his greatest wish, that you can be there." Charlie was stunned, he even chuckles. He knew why Mr. Song kept talking about him and wanted to see him. He must have met Tiankai first and saw the magical effect of Tiankai taking rejuvenating pill, so he must be eager to hope that he can also give him one. In fact, it is not only the temptation of the old Master Song that is difficult to match the rejuvenating pill, all the elderly in this world, they are not equal to the huge attraction of the rejuvenating pill. After he received the invitation, he did consider what gift he should prepare for Grandpa Song. After much deliberation, he feels that people like Mr. Song don't care about money, so he might as well just give him a rejuvenation pill. Rejuvenation pills are nothing magical to Charlie, and the most expensive cost is nothing more than a 300-year-old purple ginseng. What's more, he helped Liang, the illegitimate son of the Wei family. In order to thank him, Liang gave him the family-renowned 1000-year snow ginseng. If the 1000-year snow ginseng is used for refining medicine, the effect is much better than rejuvenating pill. Therefore, giving Mr. Song a rejuvenation pill not only can sell Mr. Song a great favor, but also does not cost much to him. It can be said that it is multi-purpose. At this time, Warnia said to Charlie again, "Mr. Wade, Grandpa invited a lot of your friends. You can have a good time with them later." "Oh?" Charlie asked with a smile, "Who did you invite?" Warnia said, "Doris, Vice Chairman of Emgrand Group. I heard that you have a good relationship with her." Charlie nodded, "It's not bad." Warnia smiled slightly and said, "She will also come today." After that, Warnia paused slightly, and then said, "As for the patriarch of the White family and Qin family, naturally it goes without saying that they have always had a good relationship with you, right?" Charlie smiled and said, "That's right." Warnia said again, "Grandpa also invited Liang, the chairman of Wei's pharmacy. I heard that you supported him." Charlie nodded and said, "Liang is an illegitimate child, and he has not been treated appropriately. In addition, his father and his half-brother offended me, so I picked him up." Warnia pursed her mouth and said, "Mr. Wade, I heard that you asked Mr. Orville to send the father and son to Chenbei Mountain to dig ginseng." "Yes." Charlie said lightly, "Since he despises Chenbei Mountain the most, then I will send him over to reflect on it." Warnia smiled and said, "I heard that the two of them had a miserable life in Chenbei Mountain. They had to dig ginseng to exchange for some food. Some time ago, the mountain was covered by heavy snow. The father and son couldn't get into the mountain or collect ginseng. So he ran to the villager's house and stole a chicken, but it made people unable to get up from the fight. The cat was chewing on the bark in the ruined house. Charlie asked curiously, "Why do you pay attention to these?" "Even I didn't pay attention to the recent situation of the two of them." Warnya blushed and said with a little shame, "I just feel that they are both on their own account, so I want to know what kind of punishment they have been punished, and then I asked more about it." Charlie smiled and said, "Did you pay attention to the group of people who were sent to Jinx to dig coal?" Warnya smiled and said, "Pay attention. They seem to be really miserable. They go to the coal kill for 12 hours a day. The working environment is very bad, the work intensity is heavy, and they still don't have enough food. I heard that there are more than a dozen people in the evening. They keep crying in the chase shop." Charlie smiled and said, "This is the price of harm." "Yet." Warnya nodded heavily, and said, "These people are all to blame." While talking, Warnya had already drove the car into the Song family villa. In the courtyard of the villa, Solman White, Qin Gang, Orville, Liang, and Doris had been waiting here long ago. As soon as Charlie got out of the car, they immediately surrounded them. Warnya stopped the car and said to Charlie, "Mr. Wade, take your seat, and I will open the door for you." Charlie said hurriedly, "Don't be so polite, I can just go down by myself." Warnya said hurriedly, "No, no. Mr. Wade, you are today's distinguished guest. I must do all the courtesy you deserve, or Grandpa will definitely scold me." With that, she hurriedly pushed the door of the car, walked around the passenger door, and opened the door. Charlie smiled helplessly, and then got out of the car. He felt that Warnya was making a fuss and being too serious, but Warnya felt that these etiquettes were all essential. Wade made Grandpa value Mr. Wade so much. At the same time, on the terrace on the second floor of the villa, Roger overlooked the courtyard, taking all the performance of Warnya and Charlie into his eyes. Since Warnya drove out, he has been waiting here, hoping to wait for the distinguished guest whom Warnya talked. He himself also hoped that the so-called distinguished guest that Warnya personally picked up would be an old master, preferably a female old master, so that the possibility of love rivals would be completely eliminated. But unexpectedly, Warnya actually picked up a young man who was similar to her age. Moreover, what surprised him even more was that Warnya would actually get off the car and open the door for the young man. Roger couldn't help wondering how much Warnya had to pay attention to each other to condescend to personally open the door to a young man of the same age. Could this be the man Warnya liked? This is the best grandson-in-law that Mr. Song misses? It looks like it must be him. Thinking of this, Roger's face was extremely gloomy, and his heart was so angry. He observed at Charlie closely, and looked up and down the strange man. Although Charlie looked handsome, demeaned and chic, from the perspective of his clothes, he was an ordinary person who couldn't be more ordinary. Roger estimated that Charlie's clothes and shoes totaled only a few thousand. A few thousand is worth a pair of socks. This kind of person looks like a stinky silk from a bad street. Why does Warnya take him so seriously? Moreover, seeing Warnya's twitchy and shy gesture like a little woman, you don't need to guess, she must be enamored with this rag. Roger's fists were clenched, and the force was too strong, making the entire knuckles a little white. Immediately, he felt that he had nowhere to vent his stomach, so he slammed his fist on the railing and snarled. "Where's the smelly rag? You dare to steal a woman from me, are you really looking for death?" Some guests coming and going on the second floor suddenly cast doubtful glances, wondering why Roger and Regner suddenly became angry. Roger glanced at them coldly and said, "What are you looking at? Get out!" Seeing that these guests all turned their heads and dared not look at this place anymore, Roger had a somber face and beckoned to Lu Guang not far away. Lu Guang ran over and asked diligently, "Mr. Wu, what do you want?" Roger pointed to Charlie, who was standing with Warnya in the yard, gritted his teeth and said, "You can check the identity of this kid for me. I want to see how sacred he is." Lu Guang glanced in the direction of Roger's finger, and this glance made him immediately cracked. "Isn't this Charlie? He knows this person when he turns into ashes." The reason why his precious son Lu Ming was carved with a knife on his forehead by Orville was because he offended Charlie. Had it not been for Charlie, Mr. Orville wouldn't have hurt his son. Therefore, Mr. Orville is just the murderer, and Charlie is the culprit. His son's forehead was engraved with the words "poor hanging" and became Oris Hill's laughing stock. When he thought of this, he wanted to swallow Charlie alive. However, because he couldn't provoke Mr. Orville, he could only swallow his anger and didn't even dare to let go. Thinking of this, he immediately gritted his teeth and said, "Mr. Wu, this person is called Charlie." Roger asked in a cold voice, "What's the origin of this rag? He dare to move the woman I like. I think he is tired of life." Seeing that Roger was very upset with Charlie, Lu Guang suddenly became ecstatic. He immediately realized that his chance of revenge was here. Therefore, Lu Guang immediately said to Roger, "Mr. Wu, this Charlie is the rubbish son-in-law of the Wilson family. As for the Wilson family, it is just a garbage family on the verge of bankruptcy in Oris Hill." Roger's expression became more gloomy, frowning and asking, "Are you sure he is a son-in-law?" Lu Guang said firmly, "Of course he is." After that, he further explained, "His wife is called Claire, she is very beautiful, and she is the object of a crush on many people in Oris Hill, but in the end she married this rubbish. After this rubbish was transferred to the Wilson family, he washed clothes every day, cooks and sweeps the floor, he is basically a housewife. It is said that the poor are dying, and they are very concerned about this matter. Everyone in Oris Hill knows about this matter." A trace of coldness and anger flashed in Roger's eyes. Before, both he and his father suspected that Warnya's ideal person was most likely the son of East Cliff's big family. If that's the case, he really doesn't have much competitiveness. But he never expected that all of Warnya's people would turn out to be live-in son-in-laws who are stubborn here. A son-in-law. This proves that Charlie is already married. Furthermore, he is not just waste, a rag, and he is still a husband. If Warnya likes the children of the East Cliff family, it can barely make sense. However, she actually fell in love with a married man, this is simply ruining the three views. Moreover, he slapped himself in the face. After all, how can he say that he is the progeny of the first family in the south of the Yangtze River? The young master of the Wu family, who has nearly 200 billion in assets, can't even compare to a son-in-law in front of Warnya? Warnya was so enthusiastic and gentle towards him, but so cold and tough towards himself, this was an insult. Roger felt the humiliation sincerely. He gritted his teeth at Lu Guang and said coldly, "Lu Guang, I will arrange a task for you. If you do it well, I will not treat you badly, but if you do not do it well, don't come to see me in the future." Lu Guang's face was stunned, and he blurted out, "Despite Mr. Wu's orders, Lu Guang will do his best." Roger observed at Charlie in the courtyard, and said coldly, "After a while, you can think of a way. I want you to humiliate and teach Charlie severely in front of Warnya. I want you to do it in front of Warnya. It's best to let him get out of here with his tail in a dingy way." Lu Guang was extremely excited. Isn't this the opportunity for public revenge? Thinking of this, he blurted out excitedly, "Mr. Wu, don't worry, I will go down and meet him soon." At this moment, Lu Guang was extremely excited. He had investigated before that Charlie used some feng shui tricks to fool a bunch of big figures in Oris Hill. Many people respected him as Mr. Wade. Orville, White family, Qin family, and even Song family all regarded Charlie as a guest. Is an existence that Lu Guang simply can't afford. However, Lu Guang feels that he can't afford to offend, but it doesn't mean that the Wu family can't offend him. Since this Charlie offended the eldest son of the Wu family, isn't it a matter of minutes for the Wu family to kill him? Now young master lets himself go to the front stand, not only a chance to revenge, but also a chance to please the beads. Kill two birds with one stone, kill two birds with one stone indeed. With Roger supporting him behind his back, coupled with new hatred and old hatred rushing into his heart, Lu Guang was completely boiling. He must bite Charlie as a piece of meat today. It is best to kill Charlie directly. Therefore, Lu Guang immediately said to Roger, "Mr. Roger, I will go to meet him for a while." At this moment, in the courtyard of the villa, when Solomon White, Qin Gang, Orville, Liang, and Ms. Doris saw Charlie coming, they hurriedly gathered around and greeted him respectfully. Solomon White, Qin Gang, Orville, and Liang all call Charlie Mr. Wade, while Doris calls Charlie Mr. Charlie. In addition to a few of them, Qin Gang was also followed by a dignified and beautiful beauty. This beauty was particularly eye-catching in a light blue evening dress. Charlie took a closer look at the woman, and was surprised to find that this dignified and mature beauty is Aoxu, who usually wears sportswear, has a heroic look. He couldn't help exclaiming, "Aoxu, I almost didn't recognize your dress today." Aoxu blushed as soon as she heard this. She bit her lower lip lightly, and said embarrassedly, "Hello, Mr. Wade." Today, Aoxu came with her father to attend Father Song's birthday banquet, deliberately dressing herself up to be very mature, because after all, she was a few years younger than Charlie, and she was still in college, for fear that Charlie would really treat her as a younger sister. A more mature dress might still make Charlie's heart move. Charlie smiled at her slightly, and said, "You too." At this time, Liang hurriedly walked to the front, bowed deeply, and said, "Mr. Wade, I have been waiting for you to inspect the work at Wei's Pharmaceutical Company. I wonder when Mr. Wade will have time." Charlie waved his hand and said, "Wei's Pharmaceutical is yours. You can manage it carefully. There is no need for me to inspect the work." Liang hurriedly said, "Mr. Wade, everything I have today is yours. Therefore, everything of Wei's Pharmaceutical is also yours." If you have any needs in the future, just a word, Liang will definitely go through fire and water. Charlie nodded and smiled, and said, Liang, you are great. Liang bowed deeply again. Mr. Wade, this is what Liang should do. At this time, a sharp voice suddenly rang, oh, it's so weird. A bunch of Oris Hill people can be regarded as having heads and faces. They actually kneel around a rubbish hanging wire and lick them. Do you have eyes? Are you blind? Still don't like your mouth tasteless and want to lick your shit? No one thought that as soon as Lu Guang jumped out, he dared to barge of mockery at everyone. These words not only mocked Charlie, but also mocked those people who respect him. At this time, Mr. Orville almost burst into flames in his eyes. He glared at Lu Guang and cursed coldly, you Lu Guang, are you looking for death? Do you want to be like your son? Let me give it on his forehead? How many words did I engrave? Charlie looked at Lu Guang with a grim expression, and suddenly realized. It turns out this guy is Lu Ming's father. Lu Ming, the rich second generation who was full of slogans, pretended to be coercive at the Champs-Élysées hot springs, and then asked Mr. Orville to engrave the words on his forehead. Unexpectedly, his father dared to make trouble for him at Song's birthday banquet today. Lu Guang observed at Mr. Orville fiercely at this time, and said coldly, Mr. Orville, don't you pretend to be in front of me, do you think I'm really afraid of you? Having said that, he pointed at Charlie and said viciously, I really don't understand, like you, the smelly rug that can only live by eating soft rice can also appear here. There are still people who have a mouth full. A compliment, what's the matter? Are you blind? Can't you see the essence of your smelly rug? Everyone was indignant for a while, and they wanted to do something to Lu Guang, but Charlie stopped them and said indifferently, everyone, today is the birthday of Mr. Song, there is no need to fight and make others laugh. After speaking, Charlie smiled and said to Lu Guang again, I was thinking about what kind of mental retardation can educate a son like Lu Ming. I saw you today and finally found the reason. After a pause, Charlie said again, your son's fate is your role model, so I advise you to keep a low profile and don't be too awkward. The skin on your forehead is wrinkled. If I really want to use a knife to engrave, without you the son's forehead is so smooth. You, Lu Guangqi's chest rose and fell sharply, pointing at Charlie and cursed, tell you your surname is Wade, don't say I didn't give you a chance to survive, as long as you kneel down right now and let me also engrave the words poor hang on your head, otherwise, I will kill you. Charlie said disdainfully, who gave you the confidence that made you think you could kill me? Lu Guang sneered and said, you are only relying on Mr. Orville, a rubbish, to dare to be so arrogant, but now I am standing behind the Wu family. Orville is inferior as a dog in front of me. I can do it with a wave of my hand. Kill him, not to mention you rubbish. Mr. Orville was furious. He rushed over to attack Lu Guang. Charlie stopped him and said with a smile, Lu Guang, your master seems a bit unkind. It's okay to let dogs bite people, but you have to show up, right? Otherwise, what if the dog is killed by someone? Lu Guang sneered and said, Wade, don't think I don't know what you are. It's nothing more than using those mysterious things to deceive people. These people are still in the dark, waiting for them to recover. If I do it for them, they won't spare you. After speaking, he looked at Warnya and said seriously, Miss Song, you are a recognized strong woman in Oris Hill. How come you were deceived by this kind of rubbish? And don't forget, this guy is already married, and he is a live-in son-in-law. You are too close to this kind of person, which will have a great impact on your reputation. In case everyone misunderstands, I think the First Lady in Oris Hill actually likes a married man. Your reputation can't be saved. Warnya's expression suddenly became very ugly. She really likes Charlie, and Charlie is indeed married, but what about it? She just like him. Is it wrong to like someone from the bottom of one's heart? Besides, even if she is really wrong, does she need Lu Guang to make irresponsible remarks? However, Warnya knew in her heart that when Lu Guang said this, she couldn't get angry. Because once she is angry, she is likely to be mistaken for anger. So Warnya scolded, Lu Guang, right? We didn't have you on the guest list. Who brought you in? Lu Guang sneered, and said arrogantly, of course, Mr. Orville from the Wu family brought me in. Let me tell you, I am from the Wu family now. As far as I know, you don't have the strength of anyone present. Can it be compared with the Wu family? Even if you all add up, it may not be comparable to the Wu family. Whoever dares to move me is tantamount to opposing the Wu family. After that, Lu Guang's face was full of triumph. He knew that as long as he showed the Wu family card, no one would dare to do anything to him. As he proudly patrolled the surroundings, he suddenly felt a black shadow flashing past, and then he slapped his face heavily. Only this one slapped him in the face. He staggered almost to the end, and he stood still and found that Charlie was the one who hit him. Charlie looked at him with a smile at this time, and said lightly, if you don't mention the Wu family, I won't be too lazy to beat you. Since you did, then I will give the Wu family this face. You dare to hit me? You're looking for death. Lu Guang didn't expect that he would get a slap in the face when he reported the name of the Wu family. Although it was his own face, in fact, it was the Wu family's face. This Charlie has nothing more than the ability to fool people, but don't forget, he offended none but the Wu family, the first family in the south of the Yangtze River. Charlie smiled slightly, raised his hand and slapped him again, and said with a smile, you think you are the dog of the Wu family, so I dare not beat you? Tell you, I beat the dog of the Wu family. If you are not convinced, go back and tell your master, let him come to me. In fact, Charlie had already understood very much in his heart. Mr. Orville and the others have called him before, and the Wu family is now looking for him everywhere. He is not only the person who turned Wu Qi into a feces-swallowing beast, but also the person Warnya loves. So, give the Wu family some time, and they will definitely find it. Perhaps, the Wu family has already seen that Warnya like him. Even the reason why Lu Guang dared to jump out now is probably because the Wu family is behind him. In this case, he simply forced the Wu family out, and what's wrong with a dog like Lu Guang? Lu Guang is really going crazy. He clearly mentioned the name of Wu family didn't work well, and Charlie was afraid that he would die. It is good. Since he want to die, then he will fulfill his wish. As soon as Lu Guang thought of Roger, the second young master of the Wu family, he was watching from the terrace on the second floor, and he deliberately shouted, "Charlie, I have already told you clearly that I am from the Wu family, so you still dare to fight me, do you still have Wu family in your eyes?" Charlie saw that he had been observing from the second floor terrace of the villa with his peripheral light, and guessed that his master should be there. So he sneered and said loudly, "What is the Wu family? A family that can raise rubbish like you must be very rubbish itself. It's just a bunch of rubbish, and it deserves to appear in my eyes." When Roger heard Charlie insult the Wu family like this, he became furious. So he immediately turned around and went downstairs, ready to meet Charlie for a while. At this moment, Warnya looked at Lu Guang, who was blushing and swollen by Charlie, and called the home bodyguard. As soon as the bodyguard arrived, she pointed at Lu Guang and ordered, "Throw this man out for me. Dare to come in again and break his legs." "Yes, miss." When the bodyguards heard this, they rushed to the front and held Lu Guang directly to throw him out of the Song family. However, at this moment, a cold voice suddenly rang. "I see who dares to throw him out." With his hands on his back, Roger walked down the stairs step by step, with indifference and anger on his face. Originally, he asked Lu Guang to come over to trouble Charlie and prevent Charlie from coming off stage, in order to slap Charlie severely and make him lose face in front of Warnya. Unexpectedly, this Charlie dared to be so arrogant. He didn't put the Wu family in his eyes at all. He slapped Lu Guang twice and slapped almost into a dead dog. This is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that this Charlie is so bold that he dared to call the Wu family rubbish. It is simply intolerable, which is unbearable. When the bodyguards saw Roger come down, they hesitated for a while. After all, he and his father also lived in the Song family for a few days, and the bodyguards had long known that they were the distinguished guests of the family. Lu Guang suddenly showed excited eyes and blurted out, "Mr. Wu, you have to call the shots for me." Roger glanced at him annoyingly, cursing in his heart, "Useless dog stuff, no small things can't be done, what use is it of you?" Warnya also frowned at this time and asked, "Roger, what do you mean? What does this matter have to do with you?" Roger said indifferently, "It's not interesting. Lu Guang is from our Wu family. He came with my dad and me. If you want to throw him out now, you just hit our Wu family in the face." Then he said to Charlie again, "And you, who gave you the courage to beat him, and dare to be disrespectful to my Wu family? Now you immediately kneel down and slap yourself, otherwise, don't blame me." For him, although Lu Guang is just a dog, this dog can be beaten by himself, but he can't be beaten by others. Otherwise, where would he put Roger's face? Where to put the face of Wu family? Charlie looked at him and asked, "What? Is your Wu family very good?" "Of course." Roger sneered very arrogantly, "The Wu family is the largest family in the south of the Yangtze River, and also a leader in the whole country. You dare to say that Wu family is rubbish?" Charlie smiled contemptuously, and looked up and down Roger, "Not to mention, this guy is indeed similar to Wu Qi, and he is indeed the brother of a compatriot." However, before Charlie spoke, Warnya hurriedly stepped forward and blurted out, "Roger, this is Lu Guang's provocation first. Don't embarrass Mr. Wade." "Mr. Wade? Roger was annoyed when he heard Warnya come out to protect Charlie, and blurted out, "He is just a rubbish, dare to call him a master." Warnya stepped forward and said solemnly, "Roger, please pay attention to your own words. Mr. Wade is an idol in my mind, and I can't tolerate you shaming him." Roger didn't expect that the goddess Warnya was actually Charlie's stinky-licking dog. He couldn't help crying in resentment in his heart. How can this guy be compared to me? I am the man you should kneel and lick. You are really blind. Thinking of this, he said coldly, "Warnya, let me tell you, this kid surnamed Wade beat our Wu family's dog and scolded our Wu family. Even if Mr. Song came out to talk, I can't forgive that." After that, he immediately pointed to Lu Guang and shouted to Charlie, "Kneel down and kowtow to my son, then kneel down and kowtow 3 heads to me. I will not hold you accountable for this matter for now." Hearing this, Lu Guang was overjoyed. Those 2 slaps just now weren't in vain. The eldest master has already begun to stand for him. So Lu Guang covered his face and strode to Charlie, arrogantly cursing, "Have you heard? Why don't you kneel down?" Charlie snorted disdainfully, and suddenly stretched out his hand, grabbed Lu Guang's neck, and directly lifted him in place. Roger was dumbfounded. He didn't expect that Charlie could lift Lu Guang, 150 or 60 kilograms, with one hand, and his feet were suspended. At this time, Lu Guang only felt that his neck was pinched by a strong force, and his feet were kicking randomly in the air, but the more he struggled, the more he couldn't breathe. Charlie looked at Lu Guang and said coldly, "Do you dare to say one more word, I will write on your forehead, and I will also engrave the word poor hang." After that, he threw him to the ground. Lu Guang slammed, his bones were about to break, but he was already shocked by Charlie's coldness, and he crawled to Roger's side, really afraid to say another word. Seeing this, Warnya pointed to Lu Guang unceremoniously, and said to several bodyguards, "What are you still waiting for? I said, throw this guy out for me." As soon as the bodyguard heard this, he rushed forward and dragged Lu Guang up without saying a word. Lu Guang hurriedly shouted, "Mr. Wu! Mr. Wu! Help me, Mr. Wu!" Roger clenched his fists tightly. This is simply humiliating him without any secret. He has never been insulted like this before. The anger in his eyes couldn't be turned away, and he gritted his teeth and said to Warnya, "Do you know if this Charlie is a married man or a waste son-in-law? You actually want to drive me for him?" Warnya said with a cold face, "Mr. Wade is a distinguished guest of the Song family, and one of the people I admire most. Let alone a dog in your family, even if you dare to continue to be disrespectful to Mr. Wade, I will do the same." Roger sullenly looked at Warnya, then at Charlie, sneered. He was annoyed and observed at Charlie coldly and said, "Boy, you are crazy. If you feel that Warnya is covering you, you dare to be so arrogant in front of me. Haven't you heard of the reputation of the Wu family and Regner Wu?" Charlie smiled lightly and said, "I have indeed heard of the name of the Wu family." Roger's expression was cold and contemptuous, and he said arrogantly, "I've heard of it. You call Wu family rubbish? If you don't kneel down and beg me for forgiveness, the Wu family will definitely not let you go. Even if the King of Heaven covering you." Charlie smiled faintly and said, "The reason why I have heard of the Wu family is because a few days ago, there was an internet celebrity on YouTube who robbed old master's shit in the hospital toilet. That guy is said to be Wu Qi. He seems to be your Wu family child? It seems that your Wu family child is really ruthless, so disgusting things, eating that thing. As soon as Charlie mentioned about his brother eating shit, Roger's expression suddenly became extremely ugly. This is really the biggest stain in the 100-year history of the Wu family. At this time, Orville was by the side, imitating a joke on the internet, and said with an exaggerated expression, "Ruthless." Everyone suddenly laughed. At this time, Roger's expression was about to eat people. Roger was so angry that his fists clenched. He observed at Charlie and said coldly, "Good boy, this is your own death. Don't blame me for not giving you a chance. My Wu family will never let you live until tomorrow." Before Charlie spoke, Warnya immediately shouted, "Roger, dare you?" Roger said coldly, "What can I not dare? Do you really think that Wu family can be slaughtered in Oris Hill? I tell you. In Oris Hill, everyone must bow to the Wu family." Warnya's face was cold, and she blurted out, "Roger, you are not welcome here, please go out." "Let me out." Roger widened his eyes, looked at Warnya, and said angrily, "You want to drive me out for this stinking silk?" Warnya said firmly, "Yes. I'll say it again, please go out." At this time, Warnya's cousin Honor suddenly appeared, and he hurriedly stepped forward and persuaded, "Oh, Mr. Wu and Warnya, what are you two arguing about?" Roger saw Honor coming, and hurriedly said, "Honor is just right for you, your sister, for the sake of a mere rag, she is kicking me out." Honor glanced at Charlie, somewhat embarrassed. In fact, Honor was also very disdainful of Charlie in his heart, but he knew that his grandfather believed in him very much, and he valued and respected him, so he didn't dare to openly disrespect Charlie. Seeing that Charlie and Roger seemed to be in conflict, he hurriedly smiled and said, "Oh, this is really flooding the Dragon King Temple, and the family doesn't know the other." With that, he hurriedly said to Charlie, "Mr. Wade, this is Roger Wu, the eldest grandson of Regner Wu family." Immediately, he hurriedly explained to Roger, "Mr. Orville, this is Mr. Wade, who once saved my grandfather's life." Roger snorted coldly, and said, "What a shit master, I think he's just a liar. He hurt Wu family's dog and called my family garbage. Even if it is the King of Heaven or Mr. Wade, he's not here today. I will let him go." As soon as he finished speaking, before Roger left, Mr. Song and Regner walked over from the villa. When Mr. Song came over, he heard the quarrel happening here. He frowned and asked, "Warnya, Honor, what happened?" Roger saw that Grandpa Song was coming, and hurriedly said, "Grandpa Song, you just came here, and Warnya actually drove my people out for this man. And this man said rude things about family, which is simply humiliating me. Humiliate my entire Wu family. You must." Before Roger finished speaking, old Song had already walked 2 steps quickly, stretched his hands towards Charlie, and said with all his respect, "Mr. Wade, you are here." Roger and Regner on the side were stunned. Why is the 80-year-old Mr. Song so respectful to a young man who is very young and well dressed? At this moment, Charlie looked at Mr. Song and smiled slightly, and said, "Father, I don't think you are getting better, Do you feel a little down these days? Mr. Song hurriedly said, Mr. Wade is really a dragon and a phoenix among people. You can see the aging situation at a glance. It's not a secret. The weather changed a few days ago and I was somewhat infected with wind and cold. In addition, I was getting older, so I looked tired. Charlie said, because your body's foundation is too weak, the medicine given to you last time is mainly used to treat the illnesses and hidden diseases that have accumulated in your body for many years, although it has cured all of your problems. But it didn't improve your physical fitness much. Elder Song hurriedly said, even so, I am very grateful for Mr. Wade's life-saving grace. If it weren't for Mr. Wade's action, the old master would have already fallen into the soil. How could he still live to his birthday today? Charlie smiled indifferently, and said, Today I prepared a birthday gift for you. I believe it will be helpful to your current situation. When Grandpa Song heard this, his hands and feet trembled with excitement. Birthday gift? Help the status quo? Could it be? Could it be? Could it be the rejuvenating pill that Tiankai had taken? In the past few days, Grandpa Song has dreamed of getting a chance. In dreams, he hoped that Charlie could give him a rejuvenation pill, and let himself feel the charm of going back in time, so that he could live a little more years, and help Song family longer and farther. However, he lived to such an old age, he knew a truth, chances are hard to find. He dared not go to Charlie for medicine, for fear that Charlie would be disgusted, so he could only wait patiently. Waiting for the moment when the opportunity comes. He originally thought that this opportunity would have to wait until the day when his granddaughter Warnia and Charlie made substantial progress. However, listening to Charlie's words now, he felt that Charlie might really have prepared a rejuvenation pill for him as a birthday gift. However, he was not sure, and he didn't dare to ask questions directly, so he could only put this great expectation in his heart first, bowed his hand to Charlie and said, The old master thanks Mr. Wade. Regner frowned, and hurriedly asked Roger next to him in a low voice, What's the background of this kid? Old Song actually respects him so much. Roger gritted his posterior molars and blurted out, Dad. He is the guest that Warnia personally picked up just now. Moreover, I think Warnia is very attached to him. Oh. Regner frowned and said, So that person we are looking for is him. Roger nodded hurriedly and said bitterly, This kid is very arrogant. He beat Lu Guang just now, and Warnia made people throw Lu Guang out again. What? Regner said angrily, We brought in Lu Guang, which is equivalent to letting us openly clarify that Lu Guang is Wu's dog. This kid knows that it is our dog, so he dare to do it. Roger said annoyedly, Dad, this kid not only beat Lu Guang, but also called our Wu family rubbish, but also openly ridiculed brother's affairs. I have the heart to kill him. When Regner heard this, his heart was furious. What he says now is also the second-generation heir of the Wu family, and will soon succeed the old father and become the head of the Wu family. However, in the small Oris Hill, there are people who dare not give the Wu family face or even insult the Wu family. He could not accept it anyway. So he immediately opened his mouth and said to Mr. Song, Uncle Song, this person beat Lu Guang and insulted our Wu family. No matter how Lu Guang is the dog of our Wu family, the dignity of my Wu family cannot be trampled by anyone. For this matter, you must give me a reasonable explanation." When Mr. Song heard this, he already understood the ins and outs of the matter. It must be Roger's short-sightedness, which caused Lu Guang to run into Mr. Wade. Otherwise, how could Mr. Wade be an acquaintance of someone like Lu Guang? However, the current problem is also very difficult. One side is Mr. Wade, and the other is Wu family. Of course, Mr. Wade must do all they can to maintain, but the Wu family is the first in Oris Hill in strength, which really offends them and is very detrimental to the Song family. However, when he thought of rejuvenation pill, Mr. Song immediately put the question behind him. He sank his face and said sharply to Regner, "Mr. Regner, Mr. Wade saved the life of the old master. In the old house, no one is allowed to insult Mr. Wade. In Father Song's heart, Charlie has always been the best candidate for the son-in-law of the Song family. With his 80 years of life experience, he has already seen at a glance that Charlie is different. In Oris Hill, he was the first to think that this son is extremely powerful, comparable to a real dragon on earth. In addition, he had already seen the effect of rejuvenating pill, and he was full of attachment to Charlie. A good relationship with the Wu family is nothing more than a way to make the Song family more money. However, although the Song family is not as rich as the Wu family, they are not short of money. There is not much difference between more than 100 billion property and more than 200 billion property. Anyway, it is inexhaustible money. For Mr. Song, money is no longer important, life and health are the most important. Therefore, he dreamed that he could recruit Charlie into the Song family as his son-in-law. How could he tolerate others on the Song family's territory and ridicule him? Regner and Roger were also startled. No one had expected that Regner was so straightforward, that old Master Song was still between Charlie and Wu's family, choosing the former. Regner felt hot on his face, and he hated Mr. Song to death. He couldn't help but secretly thought that this old immortal is really unskilled. In the presence of so many people, he can't get off the stage. What is the face of the future owner of this Wu family? Roger on the side was also very annoyed and frowned. "Grandpa Song, as far as I know, this Charlie is just a liar who looks at feng shui. Don't be fooled by this waste." Mr. Song's expression was very ugly. He looked at Roger and said coldly, "The old master has lived for 80 years, and he thinks he has the eye to see people, and he doesn't need your guidance." When Regner heard this, his face suddenly became cold, and he said, "Uncle Song is going to speak for this outsider." "Yes," Mr. Song said decisively, "in the eyes of the old master, Mr. Wade is a real dragon on earth, billions of mortals, no one can compare to him in any aspect." The voice falls. The atmosphere solidified instantly. Regner was extremely annoyed. He loves Face the most in his life, and now he is so run on by Mr. Song, his heart is naturally furious. At this moment, he even wanted to walk away, and then completely break with the Song family. The Wu family is more influential than the Song family. If the Wu family breaks openly with the Song family, the Song family will inevitably be impacted and the loss will be at least several billion. However, he felt in his heart that if he just waved away like this, the matter of his son marrying Warnya, he was afraid that there would be no better chance in future at all. Regner has been fascinated by wealthy men for a lifetime, and he knows too much about the importance of a good wife to wealthy men. If Roger marries the daughter of an ordinary person in the future, the other party will not bring him any help, and may even lower his goal and determination to fight. If Roger marries a star in the entertainment industry in the future, then the other party must be like a vampire, desperately drawing blood from him, screaming outside, and that will only speed up the prodigal's downfall. If Roger will marry the second generation of a very good-tempered straw bag rich in the future, he may also be dragged into the rank of a prodigal. In that case, even if there are hundreds of billions of wealth, it may not be enough for him to corrupt the status. He has seen too many giants regretting their lives for their wives' mistakes. Therefore, he must let his son marry a wise helper who can give him and the future family a great help. It seems that no one is more suitable for this identity than Warnya. Thinking of this, he was a little hesitant and reluctant. The scene, with Regnar's gloomy silence, fell into a strange embarrassment. Seeing this, Honor on the side secretly said badly, "If the Song family and the Wu family have cracks that are difficult to repair, or even turn against each other, it will undoubtedly be a big blow to the Song family. More importantly, in this way, Warnya is even more unlikely to marry the Wu family. If Warnya does not marry far away, her future paternal position will not be secure. Even if the position of the patriarch is secured, the assets of the Song family will probably be divided by Warnya. Therefore, he would never allow Warnya to stay in Song's house, let alone recruit Charlie. Therefore, he hurriedly stood up and made a ha-ha, persuading and saying, "Uncle Wu, young Mr. Roger, today is my grandfather's birthday banquet. As the saying goes, the elder is the oldest, not to mention that he is still the big birthday star today. In any case, you can't get angry and hurt the harmony of our family." What Honor said was undoubtedly giving both sides a chance to ease. Although Regnar was very angry, he didn't want to be too stiff with the Song family. He just couldn't step down because of face. Grandpa Song, in fact, really wanted to be able to have both fish and bear paws. If he must choose one of the two, he must choose Charlie. If he doesn't have to choose one of the two, then he must choose both. Therefore, the appearance of Honor just catered to the expectations of the two people. So Regnar took the lead and said, "The Honor says that today is Uncle Song's 80th birthday celebration. In any case, it should not be disturbed by Uncle Song's birthday. What happened just now was that Wu was abrupt. Please forgive me, Uncle Song." Regnar's words not only gave himself a step, but also gave Mr. Song a step. As a junior, he took the initiative to apologize on the grounds of his father's life. It was an act of respecting the elderly, so he did not lose face, and he also showed his respect for the elder. In his opinion, first use this step to ease his tit-for-tat confrontation with Mr. Song and stabilize Mr. Song. As for this Charlie, he has the opportunity to clean up him, not for a while, after the birthday banquet is over, he has 10,000 ways to kill him. Father Song's expression also eased a lot, and he nodded and said, "You can only make money if you are kind, and I don't want everyone to make trouble too unpleasant." After speaking, he looked at Charlie and asked respectfully, "Mr. Wade, what do you think?" Although Charlie was unhappy with the Wu family man and his sons, he didn't need Mr. Song to stand up for him. He prefers to repair this kind of addictive stuff. Besides, today is indeed Elder Song's birthday banquet, and there is no need to entangle other guests at other people's birthday banquets. Even if you want to fight, out of respect for Master Wade, you should fight outside. So he said indifferently, Mr. Song, today, you are the biggest, what you say is what I accept. Father Song hurriedly laughed and said, oh, a misunderstanding, it is best if it is resolved. Come on, everyone moves to the banquet hall, and the birthday banquet is about to begin. Roger on the side, still intensely unhappy and angry deep in his heart, looked at Charlie's eyes, almost bursting into flames. But since the two elders had reached a consensus, he couldn't continue to hold Charlie, so he had to temporarily suppress the soaring anger in his heart. At the same time, he observed at Charlie with cold eyes, gritted his teeth and swore, this waste, he is dead. Everyone moved to the banquet hall, and the birthday banquet was about to begin. Song Old Master exchanged a few words with Charlie, and then took the lead. Sitting next to him were his eldest son, third son, and fourth son. Among the second-generation heirs of the Song family, Honor's father is the eldest son, Warnya's father is the second son, but Warnya's father died young, so only Warnya remains in this line. As for the families of the third and fourth sons, because they are relatively young, their eldest children are in their teens and the youngest are only 6 or 7 years old. They are all still in school, so there is no competitiveness in the next generation of heirs. The rest of the guests also sat down one by one on the other tables. Charlie naturally sat at a table with the Chin family, White family, Mr. Orville, and others. The Wu family sat with another group of local families, and the Zhao family and Kevin family, who had kneeled and licked them before, surrounded them directly, constantly flattering them. The entire table of delicacies, as well as old wines, is already on the table. Charlie also sat down on the VIP table. Warnya could not sit with him, but the beautiful eyes were always on him, never shifting even for half a minute. Sitting on Charlie's right hand was Aoxu, and sitting on his left hand was Solomon White. As soon as Solomon White sat down, he whispered to Charlie, Mr. Wade, Thompson's first-class villa has almost been renovated. When do you plan to move in? Charlie said, I will move in after the decoration is completed. He has already discussed with Claire and want to live in the villa as soon as the decoration is complete. Not only will the environment be much better, but more importantly, he can be isolated from his mother-in-law Elaine from the floor and avoid her interruption as much as possible. Upon hearing this, Solomon White hurriedly said, Mr. Wade, do you want me to buy some furniture and appliances in advance? Then you and Madam Wade can move in with your bags. Charlie thought for a while. Although Claire is not too extravagant and wasteful, she still has a high pursuit of lifestyle and style. In addition to the decoration of a house, the most important thing is the purchase and placement of furniture. If he let Solomon White do the work, it would be easier, but Claire might not like it. Therefore, it would be better for Claire to choose this kind of thing according to her own preferences. So he said to Solomon White, you don't bother to worry about furniture and home appliances. Then I will take my family to pick one. After all, everyone has different preferences. Solomon White hurriedly said, I also thought about it this way, so I didn't take the liberty of buying home appliances and furniture. However, I prepared a 10 million shopping cart for you in advance, which can be used freely in all furniture and home appliances stores in Oris Hill. Charlie waved his hand and said with a smile, "That is so nice of you, but I won't charge this money, it's not appropriate." Charlie was not short of money. The 10 billion that the Wade family gave was barely spent, and then he blackmailed more than 10 billion from Japan's Kobayashi Pharmaceutical. Now more than 20 billion is lying in the bank card, he really doesn't know how to spend it. This is not counting the net profit that the Emgrand Group keeps pouring in. If the net profit is counted, it will be a larger sum. Seeing Charlie's rejection of his kindness, Solomon White knew that Mr. Wade was definitely not short of the money, so he hurriedly said, "Then I will keep it for you first. If you need it, you can ask me at any time." Charlie nodded lightly. At this time, he received a message from Warnya on WeChat, "Mr. Wade, don't worry about what happened just now. If the Song family is there, the Wu family will not be too presumptuous." Charlie smiled slightly and replied, "Don't mind, it's just some clowns." At this time, Regner and his son were sitting in the VIP seats on the other side. Roger looked at Warnya, then at Charlie, and saw that both of them were playing with their mobile phones. One put it down, the other picked it up, the other put it down, and the other one picked it up again. They were talking on WeChat. He was even more angry at this time. Although he added Warnya's WeChat, this Warnya actually closed her circle of friends. Even when they talk to her, she rarely responds. But looking at the frequency of her chatting with Charlie now, it was really for fear of delaying a second, almost immediately picking it up for a second, and there was even a small woman's smile on her face. He is also a person who has made countless girls, and it is natural to see that Warnya is indeed in love with Charlie now. Thinking of this, he felt annoyed. The anger just now ignited again. So he whispered to Regner beside him, "Dad, I must let this Charlie die, he must die tonight." Regner looked at his hatred and shook his head and said, "Do you know the only thing you dissatisfied with?" Roger shook his head slightly, expressing puzzlement. Regner looked at him, sighed and said, "The only thing you are dissatisfied with is that you act too hastily and can't distinguish the priorities." After that, Regner said to Roger, "Charlie is just an ordinary person with a little strength but no background. We can kill him at any time, not in a hurry. There is no need to just talk to Song because of him. Home is noisy, now the most important thing is to let you win Warnya." Roger is still a little unwilling, but can only give it up. "I know, then wait 2 days, I will let someone kill Charlie." Regner said lightly, "Don't worry, although Charlie has no background, he has a lot of fans in Oris Hill, not only the Cheen family, the White family, and Mr. Orville, but even the Song family supports him. This is for us." "It's trouble." Roger hurriedly asked, "What should I do?" Regner said, "If you want to kill, you must first plan the overall situation." With that said, Regner explained, "Don't think Mr. Orville is just a bastard in the underground world, but he has many younger brothers. Once this kind of person erupts, he will gather thousands of younger brothers every minute. This is our biggest hidden danger. If we kill Charlie, he in turn will fight us hard, we may not be able to escape Oris Hill alive." "Mr. Orville." Roger frowned and blurted out, "Well, let's kill Mr. Orville first." Regner nodded and said, that's what I think. I'll catch Mr. Orville by surprise. When he is taken lightly, I will kill him directly, and then help Lu Guang to take over and let Lu Guang succeed him and become Oris Hill's underground king. After all, Regnar's expression flashed with sinister expression, and he said coldly, by that time, we are equivalent to having a strong foundation of force in Oris Hill. If you want to kill Charlie, or even the Qin family and the White family, it's easy to kill everything you don't know how to promote at once. Roger was trembling with excitement, and blurted out, Dad, when will Mr. Orville be killed? I think this old dog is not pleasing to my eyes. Regnar said indifferently, don't worry, I will make people ready, and I will send Mr. Orville to the west tonight. At the thought of killing Mr. Orville tonight, Roger became excited. Dad is right, Mr. Orville is equivalent to Charlie's firepower in Oris Hill. If you want to defeat Charlie smoothly, you must first remove his firepower point. Moreover, just taking it off is not enough. You have to turn this firepower point into your own firepower point. In this way, this firepower point became the bridgehead for the Wu family to march into Oris Hill in the future. At that time, Charlie must pay the price of his life for the girl who insulted and made his own. As for the Qin family and the White family, they have to pay the price for not kneeling and licking the Wu family. At this time, Regnar looked at Roger and said lightly, calm down when things happen, and don't be overly excited. Roger hurriedly put away the involuntary excitement on his face, and said, Dad, I see. Yet. Regnar nodded, no longer taking Charlie's matter into his heart, but asked, a birthday gift for Mr. Song, is it ready? Roger nodded and said, it's ready. I've inquired that Mr. Song likes Thompson Yin and Thompson Boho's calligraphy and painting the most. He collects a lot of them on weekdays, so I specially asked someone to get one from the collection at home overnight. Thompson Boho's Moon Spring picture scroll is used as a birthday gift. This painting is worth at least 2 to 3 billion. I believe he will like it. Regnar gave a hum, his eyes also showed satisfaction. Even if it is placed in the Wu family, the Yuquan scroll is a treasure among the treasures. With this painting as a stepping stone, it will open the door of the Song family and let the old master Song pay more attention to the Wu family, and even make him agree to the marriage between the two families. The birthday banquet has officially begun at this time. Mr. Song stepped onto the small stage built up to thank all the guests present and thank everyone for coming to his 80-year-old birthday banquet. After the speech, the birthday banquet came to the stage where everyone took turns to congratulate and present birthday gifts. 2 bodyguards in black suits brought up an imperial armchair, and assisted Mr. Song to sit down on the armchair. Honor's father, 3rd uncle, and 4th uncle got up first and lined up to the stage. The 3 of them bowed their heads to the old master's birthday, and then offered birthday gifts one by one. Boyu received the gift next to him, and at the same time used the microphone to report the gift and value of the other party. This is also the tacit understanding and habit that the upper-class family has already formed. The eldest son, Tianming Song, gave a tropical island to the Maldives worth 500 million. As soon as these words came out, they were amazed in average. As soon as he came up, Mr. Song has a tropical island. It seemed that Tianming Song was really magnificent. This Tianming Song is Honor's father and Warnya's uncle. Tianming Song said to Mr. Song at this moment, Dad, I heard that you have been caught in the cold a few days ago, and your son bought a tropical island specially. If it gets cold later, you will go there to spend the winter. Mr. Song nodded very satisfied. Okay, Tianming, that is so nice of you. The third son, Song Tiansheng, gave a set of classical villa in Sanya, worth 200 million. A middle-aged man who was much younger than Tianming Song hurriedly said, Dad, your son didn't expect my eldest brother to give you an island so generously, this villa really pales in comparison. The old master Song smiled slightly, it's fine when you have your heart. Don't worry too much. The fourth son, Song Tianan, give a luxury yacht worth 150 million. Another middle-aged man hurriedly said, Dad, this yacht and the Sanya villa were bought together by my third brother and I. If you go to Sanya in the future, you can make a yacht voyage to relax. After speaking, he hurriedly said complimentingly, but we didn't expect that my eldest brother can gift you an island, and then you can drive the yacht to the Maldives. Mr. Song smiled and nodded, and said, well, winter is coming. As a family, we can go to the islands of Maldives to spend the winter. After the three sons gave the presents, Warnya and Honor got up together and came to Mr. Song. At the same time, the two knelt down in front of Mr. Song and took out the birthday gift at the same time. Boyu reported to the side, the honor of the eldest grandson Song, I presented a pair of Laokang ice-type jadeite ornaments, worth 80 million. He wishes the father a blessing in the East China Sea and a longevity than the gods. The eldest granddaughter Warnya, sent a pair of ancient pictures, worth 70 million, she wishes the father a longevity and great prosperity. At this time, other guests also stepped forward one after another, giving gifts. Although they are not as valuable as the gifts from the Song family themselves, they are all valuable gifts, basically between 10 million and 30 million. At this time, Regner and Roger stood up, Roger holding the gift, and Regner came to Father Song together. Roger gave Charlie a provocative look, his heart filled with contempt. He is about to give away the priceless authentic Thompson yin, which must be the most valuable gift among all the guests. At that time, he will definitely be able to compare Charlie to let him know that there is a huge difference between him and himself. Thinking of this, Roger was incomparably in his heart, holding the calligraphy and painting in his hand, and bowed to Mr. Song. Afterwards, he walked up to Mr. Song and said with a smile, Grandpa Song, this is a gift from me. I heard that you like Thompson Yin's calligraphy and painting. I let someone bring an authentic piece of Thompson Yin from Wu's house overnight. Hundreds of millions of Yuquan scrolls, I hope you like it. Boyu immediately reported in a loud voice, the eldest son of the Wu family gave a copy of Thompson Yin's original Yuquan picture scroll, worth over 100 million. As soon as this remark came out, the guests at the scene turned their eyes. Thompson Yin's calligraphy and painting are not many in the market, and they belong to the kind that has a price but no market. Any one of the most common paintings costs at least 30 to 40 million, and the tall ones will be overwhelming. Once Thompson Yin's picture of Lushan waterfalls was sold abroad for 3.6 billion. And this pair of Yuquan scrolls is also a rare treasure of Thompson Yin. 5 years ago, it was photographed by a mysterious rich man at a price of nearly 200 million. Since then, no one never heard any news about Yuquan scrolls. Unexpectedly, this painting actually reached the Wu family. It seems that the mysterious rich man who made the purchase should be the Wu family. This painting was worth 200 million 5 years ago, and now it is sold for 300 million if it is sold for auction. If you are lucky, 400 million may not be impossible. When Mr. Song heard this, his eyes lit up. He really didn't expect that the Wu family's shots were so generous, but it was just a birthday gift. It turned out to be a Yuquan scroll worth 3 or 4 billion. He likes Thompson Yin's calligraphy and painting, and everyone in Oris Hill knows it. Naturally, it is impossible for the Wu family not to understand. This time they took out Thompson Yin's Yuquan picture scroll, which can be said to be a standard one, regardless of cost. So Father Song couldn't hide his excitement and said, "Mr. Wu has a heart. This painting has been fascinated for a long time, and I admire him very much. I didn't expect that Mr. Wu would be willing to give it to me. I am so grateful." Roger was very proud of hearing this. "Haha, you guessed it right. This old master is obsessed with Thompson Yin." When he saw this painting, his eyes couldn't get out. However, he said calmly on the surface, "Grandpa Song, you don't have to be so polite, this is what the younger generation should do." With that, he couldn't help but look at Charlie. Charlie hasn't come out to give gifts yet, and now he has his most precious gift before him. He is afraid that he will definitely be compared with him. So, he deliberately smiled at Charlie. "Brother Wade doesn't know what gift he prepared for Grandpa Song? Grandpa Song admires you so much, you shouldn't let him down, right?" In Roger's view, there is a picture of Thompson Yin's moon spring of his own here, and Charlie is a mere son-in-law. How can he be compared with himself? Therefore, he felt that this time, he was bound to crush Charlie, and become the one that surprised all the guests the most, and also the one who most delighted Mr. Song. After all, in Roger's view, Charlie is just a live-in son-in-law and a wasteful rag. It is impossible for him to give any decent gifts. Therefore, no matter what he sent, he couldn't compare with the moon spring picture scroll he sent. So he deliberately sneered and said, "Grandpa Song, I heard that Mr. Wade has been in the Feng Shui mystery fraud circle all the year round. He must have deceived a lot of good things for so long. He must give you a gift worth hundreds of millions, even billions of treasures." After that, Roger sneered at Charlie again, "The gift I gave is worth only 3 to 4 billion. I believe Mr. Wade's gift is definitely worth more than mine." When Mr. Song heard this, his brow furrowed and he became even more dissatisfied with Roger. His face became colder. No matter what Mr. Wade gave to the old master, in the old master's eyes, it is a priceless treasure. Roger was a little surprised at once. "Mr. Song, what fascinating soup was poured by Charlie." At this moment, Charlie was named by him and stood up with a smile on his face. Everyone was staring at him, wondering what gift he would give. However, he saw that his hands were empty, and he didn't look like he could hold a valuable gift. Could it be that Charlie was going to play karate for the old master's Song? Even if he gives away a set of calligraphy and painting, the volume is absolutely impossible to put in the pocket. But Charlie was empty-handed, which made most people think that he must have not prepared a gift. Even if a gift is prepared, it is probably not worth any money, and it is definitely not as good as the picture scroll given by the young master of the Wu family. Mr. Song himself had already raised his heart to his throat at this time. His eyes kept looking at Charlie. Seeing that Charlie was empty-handed, he was shaking with excitement. What he was most afraid of was seeing Charlie holding a gift box, holding a scroll, or holding something else for himself. Because he didn't want anything except rejuvenation pill. The Yuquan scroll is really good. As an antique calligraphy and painting, it really caters to one's own preferences. However, that is just a preference. If a person is about to die, what's the use of putting all his favorite things in front of him? At that time, he was rather willing to use all these things for a few days of life. Therefore, Mr. Song is looking forward to Charlie being able to give himself a rejuvenating pill. He has been looking forward to it for a long time. It can even be said to be his greatest expectation in life now. At this moment, Charlie paced unhurriedly in front of old Master Song. Without waiting for him to speak, Roger sneered, "Oh, I said Brother Wade, you are too petty, aren't you? Grandpa Song is celebrating his 80th birthday today. You came to the birthday banquet without giving anything and empty-handed." Charlie smiled slightly, and asked him, "Who told you that I won't bring anything? What about the gift you have? Take it out." Roger said contemptuously, "Could it be that he bought a small souvenir that came in his pocket? I don't want to look at it. Which of these birthday gifts is not worth more than tens of millions?" Charlie looked at him, smiled contemptuously, and then took out a small wooden box from his pocket. This small square box was bought by Charlie on the street stall. It cost 5. The main reason for buying it was that the rejuvenating pill is a medicine, and it is not suitable for putting it in your pocket or wrapping it in toilet paper. When Roger looked at the small wooden box, he immediately curled his lips and said, "Oh, let me go, what is this? You bought it at a stall for 10. Charlie smiled and said, "You are half right. It was indeed bought at a street stall, but it didn't cost 10, it only cost 5. Everyone was stunned by Charlie's words. Charlie doesn't take Mr. Song seriously, right? Father Song had his 80th birthday, he actually gave a $5 wooden box? Even if there is something in this wooden box, what valuable thing can it be? Really valuable things cannot be packed in such broken boxes." As a result, many people around booed. Even Honor, covering his mouth, quietly let out a cut. Roger even grabbed Charlie's handle and said indignantly, "Charlie, do you still have Grandpa Song in your eyes? Are you deliberately trying to find fault with this kind of garbage?" Charlie ignored him, but opened the small wooden box, revealing the black and round rejuvenating pill inside, and said to the old Master Song, "Mr. Song, this is the birthday gift I prepared for you. It was a coincidence, I got it by chance. I hope you like it." The reason why he said he did it by chance is to avoid unnecessary trouble. When Mr. Song saw this, his whole body was excited. He just felt a surge of energy rushing over his head, and stood up in a moment of excitement. As soon as Grandpa Song got up, his whole body was shaking violently. This was mainly because he was so excited that he didn't know what to do. He dreamed that Mr. Wade could give him the same opportunity as Tiankai, but this opportunity was so precious that he only dared to think about it in his heart. However, he never dreamed that the dream would come true at this moment. Mr. Wade really gave him a chance. When he walked to Charlie tremblingly, all the guests were staring at him. Those who are not familiar with Charlie, seeing the old master walking towards Charlie trembling, thought that the old master must be furious, maybe he had never suffered such humiliation in his life, and they would come up and give Charlie a slap in the face, and then drive him out directly. Roger saw that in the box, it turned out to be just a dark, inconspicuous pill, and there was no magic at all. So he couldn't help but mocked, "Charlie, Grandpa Song's 80th birthday, would you give such a broken pill? Isn't this the dolly pill you bought from the street? Ordinary people will eat it. Will be poisoned to death by your pill." Charlie ignored him, and just explained to Mr. Song, "Mr. Song, this rejuvenation pill has the effects of prolonging life and improving physical fitness. After taking it, it will make people live at least 10 years old, and life expectancy will be extended by at least 10 years. Hearing this, Roger couldn't help shaking his head and mocking, "Charlie, do you think Grandpa Song can be fooled by a liar like you? Bullshit dolly pills can make you 10 years younger? What international joke is this? Think of so many high-end people of us as fools." Most of the guests who didn't know Charlie also nodded one after another. 10 years younger? Who would believe it? However, no one thought that at this moment, old Master Song came to Charlie trembling, and knelt on the ground with a thump. Everyone present saw this scene. Instantly, as if struck by lightning, there was an uproar in the hall. No one would have imagined that the 80-year-old Mr. Song would actually kneel to Charlie. It stands to reason that when a person lives to 80 years old, his parents and elders may have already been in the soil. What's more, Father Song is still the head of the Song family. The Song family is the largest family in Oris Hill. Their 80-year-old patriarch actually kneeled for a young man in his 20s. This makes everyone incredible. Roger was also trapped. What? With a strong pill, Mr. Song would kneel? You said it earlier. A painting of Mr. Wu's 300 to 400 billion, exchange it for dolly pills, enough for your 200th birthday. And buddies don't beg you to kneel down on, just betroth Warnya to him. At this time, the Song family also had different expressions. Warnya's expression was filled with uncontrollable excitement and joy. Her parents died early, and her grandfather raised her to adulthood. She has the deepest relationship with Mr. Song. Moreover, she had heard from her grandfather long ago that the genius Dr. Tiankai had the opportunity of rejuvenating pills, and she also knew that grandfather desperately wanted to be able to get such a chance. For Warnya, she also hopes that Grandpa can get this opportunity and live healthy for more than 10 years. However, the other Song family members do not think so. Seeing this scene, the most depressed is Honor. Elder Song is still alive, and he has not completely handed over power to his father. If his father cannot completely control the Song family, it will be difficult for him to become the sole heir of the Song family in the future. Now, Father Song has not distributed the estate, so no one knows how much assets he intends to give to the family of these 3 sons after his death. No one knew how much assets he would give to Warnya, a child without a father or mother. If Honor's father can't get the entire Song family, it will be even more impossible for himself. Therefore, he doesn't want the old master to extend his life for more than 10 years. At this moment, old Master Song knelt in front of Charlie, with tears of excitement. With a smile on his face, Charlie put the box containing the rejuvenation pill in his hand, and said lightly, "This medicine is extremely precious and has disappeared in the world, so I advise you to take it as soon as possible to avoid accidents." Father Song took the wooden box and was extremely excited. Immediately, he leaned down amidst everyone's stunned mouth, his forehead hit the ground directly. With the palms of his hands facing up and the backs of his hands on the ground, he said piously, "Thank you, Mr. Wade, for giving this opportunity. Mr. Wade's kindness, Song has no retribution, and hereby swears to the 9 heavens God that he will do his utmost to be loyal to Mr. Wade for the rest of his life." The scene was shocked. If you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, who could believe that Elder Song would kneel and kowtow to a young man and say such pious words? The most incomprehensible is Roger. He felt that this old thing must be old and confused, or his brain was slapped, otherwise, how could he kowtow to Charlie? Mr. Song's seniority is the most present today. Even though the Wu family is stronger than the Song family, the assets his father can control are still less than Mr. Song, not to mention Mr. Song is still an elder. Looking at other guests, although many of them are ordinary second-rate families, they are at least with net worth of over 100 million. In the entire scene, there was only one real rag, and that rag was Charlie. However, Mr. Song just knelt down for this smelly pauper and knocked his head. Why? Charlie is a bullshit? Why did Mr. Song kowtow to Charlie so low? In other words, the head is knocked, doesn't it mean that the granddaughter can also give it away? Thinking of this, Roger felt very depressed in his heart. If Charlie's prestige is not extinguished, maybe Father Song would be willing to put Warnya on him as a junior. So, he gritted his teeth and blurted out, "Grandpa Song! How can you believe this kind of stinky silk?" His dolly pill was bought by a barefoot doctor on the side of the road. The box is 5, and dolly pill may be the most unhealthy. It's only 10, you can't be fooled by him. Otherwise, it doesn't matter if you are deceived. If you eat badly, you will be in trouble. Father Song glared at Roger, and said coldly, "Mr. Wu, although you are a guest of my Song family, Mr. Wade is an old benefactor, and he has a life-saving and recreation grace for the old. If you dare to show Mr. Wade again if you want to be presumptuous, don't blame the old man for being rude." Roger was anxious and blurted out, "Grandpa Song, are you always confused? You believe in such a liar?" Warnya stood up at this time and scolded angrily, "Roger! Please be careful when you speak. Don't be too presumptuous." Roger frowned and asked Warnya, "Grandpa Song is always confused, are you also confused? This kind of rubbish pill, besides deceiving the demented elderly, can it be useful? You also studied in the world's top university in the United States. A high-achieving student, do you believe the bullshit Charlie said?" "Of course I believe it," Warnya said without hesitation, "I will never doubt what Mr. Wade said. It's you, if you deliberately target Mr. Wade and insinuate my grandpa, I'll let people drive you out." "You?" Roger was about to collapse. "What number is this? A powerful pill, crippled you grandparent and grandchildren? You give me this shit, I don't even bother to take a look. Why do you still treat this thing as treasure? If I give a pair of 3 or 4 billion, Mr. Song would say just thank you." When someone gave him a strong pill, Mr. Song would kneel down for him. If you want to calculate by value, Mr. Song has to kneel for him. He said indignantly, "Come here, let's let the people present judge, what is the value of this dolly pill? Will it be more precious than the Moon Spring picture scroll I sent? Why is your Song family so polite to this rag? Don't respect me at all." Seeing that his son gave such an expensive gift, Regner was even insulted. He really couldn't see it. He stood up, snorted angrily, and said, "Uncle Song, although your Song family is the largest family in Oris Hill, you can't wantonly insult my Wu family? Why can someone send a piece of rubbish? You humbly bow. My son gave the Yuquan picture scroll, but he still has to be treated indifferently by you. Today, if you don't tell me why, then I can only think that your Song family deliberately targeted our Wu family." Father Song held the rejuvenating pill in his hand and shouted sternly, "Regner, you are still the son of Wu's family, but you are blindfolded and sitting on the well. Do you really think this pill is rubbish? I tell you, if you know the effect of this pill, you will kneel in front of Mr. Wade and beg Mr. Wade to give you one." Regner said coldly, "Me? What a joke! I'm less than 60 years old this year, do you think I'm as confused as you?" Charlie looked at Regner with a resolute and somewhat sarcasm expression, smiled slightly, and said to Mr. Song, "Mr. Song, if someone can't talk about ice, insects that can't live in winter, won't believe that there is ice in the world. People who have experienced miracles will not believe that there is a God in this world." Speaking of this, Charlie smiled playfully, and said calmly, "In this case, you might as well take this pill in public, so that these people can see the good fortune of this rejuvenation pill." Grandpa Song himself couldn't wait for this rejuvenation pill, and when he held it in his hand, he wanted to take it down immediately. After all, he had seen Tian Kai after taking the medicine, and knew that this rejuvenation pill had a superb effect, so he did feel relieved when he held it in his hand, for fear of unexpected changes. Only if you eat it, you can really feel safe. Now that Charlie has also said it, old Sun Song naturally agreed in a hurry and said gratefully, "Mr. Wade, then I will take it now." After finishing speaking, the old Master Song carefully took the rejuvenation pill in his hand, put it in his mouth with excitement, and swallowed it into his abdomen. As soon as it entered the entrance, Mr. Song felt that the pill had turned into a stream of heat into his limbs and veins, and his whole body was warm, as if he had returned to his teenage years, and every cell was full of vitality. Like Tian Kai, every part of his body was nourished by medicine, and his whole body was glowing with the long-lost youth. He was even surprised to find that the dark wounds and old problems he had left many years ago were gradually disappearing, and the wrinkles on his face had become lighter and tighter. The scalp also feels itchy, and it seems that new hair is growing. In the eyes of everyone, at this time Father Song had undergone an astonishing change. Originally, Mr. Song's rickety body became straight, and his white hair was gradually turning black. Although not all turned black, a considerable part of it turned black. The age lines on the face have also faded to an extent visible to the naked eye, and the spirit are completely different from before. If Mr. Song looked like an old master in his 80s and dying, he now looks like he is in his 60s at most. Moreover, the spirit of the old Master Song has also become very good all of a sudden, the look in his eyes is a bit of a middle-aged person. Originally, these people who dismissed the rejuvenation pill were already stunned by the deterioration of Old Master Song at this moment. No one has seen such a miraculous sight, even Warnya was completely shocked by this sight. The former rickety old master has now become a grey-haired middle-aged and old master. This reminds Warnya to think of the old master who embraced her in his arms when her father died 10 years ago and told her not to be afraid, that everything still has him. At that time, grandfather was only in his 60s, and he looked exactly the same as he is now. In other words, grandpa's life clock, because of this rejuvenation pill, has gone backwards. His lifespan will be extended by more than 10 years. Does this mean that Grandpa can live to be 100 years old in the future? Warnya burst into tears of joy. The other relatives of the Song family didn't really care about her. Her father passed away. They were grieving on the surface, but they were celebrating in their hearts. There was one less person in the inheritance competition with them. Therefore, her only relative in the world is Father Song. Of course she hopes that Mr. Song can live a long life. When Mr. Song was dying, he once told her that the biggest regret was that he didn't see her married. The old master said that Warnya had lost her parents since she was a child, and she was the most reassuring child and his favorite. Of course, it was also the child who was the most sincere and filial to him. Therefore, he was particularly afraid that he would suddenly die, and Warnya did not marry and start a family. In that case, she will become a lonely person. Mr. Song hopes to watch her marry, and to marry a man who loves her, she loves, is reliable, stable, and is able to take care and protect her. Only in that way can he die with confidence. But now, Warnya knows that Grandpa doesn't have to worry about not seeing her getting married. He has extended his lifespan for at least more than 10 years. Not only can he see her getting married, he can even see that she has children, and he can enjoy the family happiness of 4 generations under one roof. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but look at Charlie. If she is to marry someone and have children, she only wants to marry Charlie alone. But, will Charlie fall in love with her? Will Charlie be willing to abandon his current marriage that is not true and be with her? Thinking of this, Warnya was also a little worried. At this time, the other people on the scene had already exploded. They saw with their own eyes the earth-shaking changes that had taken place in Mr. Song, and they were all excited as if they had seen God. It's impossible. Why did Mr. Song become so young all at once? My God, this is the effect of rejuvenation pill. A medicine is a miracle, this is a magic medicine. Mr. Wade is really a dragon on earth. I also want a rejuvenation pill, me too, I am willing to buy even 10 million. 10 million? What are you going to do with chicken feathers? I will buy it for 100 million, if Mr. Wade wants to sell, I will pay 200 million. The scene has been overwhelmed by awe. If you don't see it with your own eyes, who can believe that there is really a rejuvenation in this world? This kind of thing that can only be seen on TV, turned out to be really true. The people present are all successful people, most of whom are in their 40s or 50s, or even older. People of this age have already felt the cruelty and pain of the passing of time. For men in their 50s and 60s, wrinkles have already crawled on their cheeks, and their physical fitness is much worse than when they were young. Backaches and lumbar muscle strain are inevitable. As for hair loss, blessing, wake up, and the rapid degradation of that ability, it is also unspeakable pain for middle-aged and elderly men. Which man in his 50s and 60s does not miss his happiness in his youth? It's a pity that most men have physical and no financial resources when they are young, but when they are older, they become financial well and lack physical strength. Want to coexist with financial strength, physical strength, and energy, except for the rich second generation like Regner, how can anyone else have such an opportunity? Many people are looking forward to the opposite X when they are young, but they don't look forward to the opposite X when they are older and have a successful career. When countless young people of the opposite S3X surround themselves, they are already unable to do so. Such middle-aged and elderly people do not expect to experience the coexistence of financial and physical strength, but can only hope to have a good baby in the next life. Therefore, when they saw the miracle that happened to Mr. Song before their eyes, everyone's heart was extremely expectant and hot. Even Regner, who had been a rich second generation since he was a child, was looking forward to the changes in Mr. Song at this time. He has experienced a young age with finance, physical strength, and energy. At that time, he was a playboy sought after by countless beauties. He had been among the tens of thousands of flowers without any leaves. He was really as cool as he was, no worse than the current national man. However, that's just Regner's glorious history. He used to urinate against the wind, and now he urinates with the wind. The more so, the more he missed the brave and mighty, unrestrained youth. Therefore, when he looked at Charlie at this time, his previous anger and hatred were gone. Instead, he had a strong yearning and expectation. So, he involuntarily walked up to Charlie, suddenly folded his fists, bowed slightly, and blurted out respectfully, "Mr. Wade, I didn't know if you have any remaining rejuvenation pills. If there are, please give me the next one. I would like to pay 500 million in cash." Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.